Hello bass family and welcome to Everything Bass. I was just playing through today's creating jazz walking bass lines, Unit 5, Blue Bossa. We're taking Blue Bossa because I love the chords, and but we're not taking the Blue Bossa, we're not playing it as Latin jazz. We're just working on our chord note jazz walking bass lines. So when you listen to it, you'll say, oh, okay, well, it's got this, it's got this clave behind it. It's got a Latin feel. We're going to do it more straight jazz. We're just really taking the chords. And that's why I didn't write the melody or anything on the sheet you can get from Patreon. So in this series, you've done triadic bass lines. You've played triads and added a chromatic leading tone. You played using all the notes of the seventh chords. So you've added a seventh to the triads. And you started practicing resolving to the nearest chord tone, so your bass lines have a nice flow to them. They're not like really choppy, always having to kind of jump back to the root. Today, we're going to just add one non-chord tone and really get into what that does for our bass lines, how it smooths them out even more. As we talked about, a common measure of jazz swing, you got the first beat is a strong beat. It needs to be a chord tone. There's examples you'll find of your bass line out there of guys who start on non-chord tones, but it's a good starting point to get your ear trained to it. It doesn't always have to be the root, but it should be one of the chord tones. The beat 2 is a weak beat. It can actually be a scale tone. It can be a chromatic. It doesn't have as much dependency. Beat 3 is a strong beat. These two have to be chord tones. Have to be, I know. It's suggested that these are chord tones because even the non-musician, they hear these two beats and they can kind of get the sense of the chord in from you. If you were to play like a non-chord tone, non-chord tone, non-chord tone, or a non-chord tone, chord tone, non-chord tone, they might be a little confused. It might not sound right to them. So that's why this is taught, everywhere I've been to. And then the last beat, beat 4, is a leading tone. It has more to do with where you're going, the next chord, as it does to this chord. So it can be a chromatic easily. It can be a scale tone. It can be a chord tone. So we're going to add the 2. So the second note of whatever scale you've chosen for walking the bass lines. This chart I like too because it starts with 2 measures of C minor and then 2 measures of F minor. So what I did, especially for you guys, is if you go to, if you are a Patreon subscriber and you download the sheet, you'll have the chords here that I'm teaching off of. And it's a simplified version. I like it. It's good for instruction. And then we have, every time a bell rings, then we have, I wrote down the chord tone keys. Hopefully you guys will do this too, is look at the chords C minor 7, and if you have to, pull out your bass, grab a piano, whatever you're comfortable on, and figure out what are the actual note names, C, E flat, G, B flat. That's going to help you. And go through and do that for all the chords on the chart. It's really great. It's something simple. It's also something you can do away from your instrument. I know I just said go to your bass, but if you just are at work and you have some downtime, you don't have an instrument with you, you can visualize the fingerboard or visualize the keyboard and actually go, oh, okay, yeah, this note is here and this note is here, and you can write it out. And that's valuable. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and soon you won't have to do it. You'll know that F major 7 is F-A-C-E. You'll just know these things real quick. And then I created 4 templates for you just for this week's class. And the templates, like on the C minor, let's just make it easy. Let's make C minor a C Dorian and D minor, or F minor a D, F minor and F Dorian. Wow, it's early here, believe it or not. So the first template is you're going to play 4 notes as always, and you're going to play root, whatever 2 fits the chord, whatever 3 fits the chord, and whatever 5 fits the chord. So on the C minor, you're going to play root, 2, 3, 5. And then we have another bar of C minor. And you can play it again, or you can jump up and play it higher. To get the sound of get how it sounds to put that 2 in there. Now let's compare this. One of the last bass lines I had you create was root 3, 5, 7. Now if we hear that against the sequence. Now listen to the difference by adding the 2. I'm not going to say one's better and one's worse because they're not. They're just different. And you have to hear it. You have to hear the difference. If we solely built chord tone bass lines, they always are separated by a third from each other. except for the seventh to the octave. And that can actually become, I don't know, predictable, boring. So by being able to put in a scale tone or a chromatic, you can kind of smooth out and liven up the bass line, add new sounds and colors, and make the chord even sound better that you're supporting with your bass line. So the first module, root 2, 3, 5, you would apply that to every, so if we went to F minor, root 2, 3, 5, root. Going to the D dominant, we're going to use D mixolydian. To the, I'm sorry, no, D half diminished. My apologies. Oops. I'm doing it wrong. We're using D Locrian to G mixolydian to C minor again, C Dorian. Now, when there are two chords in a bar, the last measure on the chart, there's a D half diminished to a G7. Just play whatever the first two notes of the module are and just start over. So here's the D, it's root 2 to the G, root 2, and then go. Some of them won't sound great, but at least you're practicing your mind. You're sharpening your mind to be able to see the chords and always move this template and adjust it to the chords. That's a huge skill set. Second one, root 2, 5, 3. Now root 2, 5, 3, using the scales we already decided, would be root 2, 5, 3. That's kind of interesting. Like that. Module 3 is octave 5, 3, 2. So we're ending on the 2, which is really cool. So again, octave 5, 3, 2, octave 5, 3. I'm sorry, I should start in C. Octave 5, 3, 2. We play that again. F minor. Octave 5, 3, 2. Octave 5, 3, 2. The half diminished. Then. Yeah. And just try that approach going through it. The last module I created. Now you could do way more because you could start on notes other than the root and the octave. You can change directions, but this one we're going root 2, root 3. So it's going to be kind of this rocking back and forth feel. So on the C minor, root 2, root 3, root 2, root 3, F minor, root 2, root 3, root 2, root 3, the D half diminished, the G major, or G dominant. So you can see the benefit of that by instead of just going from chord tones only to full scales, which can be confusing, frustrating, plus you might not really hear details, but by adding the two, we're focused on one new interval, adding to the chord tones, placing it into the template, and really listening to the effect it has, getting used to it. Then we can add maybe a second interval, and we start building out that way. It's also really great for you to get real used to what scales match up with which chords and what the sounds are. Again, there's a lot of minor scales. What if you get out of the diatonic, whatever the chord function is on the chart, and you pull a scale from another key and put it in there? That's minor, also minor. You know, obviously you're going to introduce some notes or a note that doesn't belong to that key, but you can use that to good effect, and we'll explore that in future videos. Okay, so we got this one down, man, getting dialed in. I said this in another video, but if you feel really comfortable about this and you're really going, oh, these templates are easy, and make up some of your own and you're kind of really getting it down, increase tempo. Tempo allows us to, we're never going to be able to comfortably play faster unless we practice playing faster, because it requires quicker thinking, quicker reaction time. You definitely will imprint your fingerboard stronger on your in your mind if you start pushing the tempos. Now, if you've been doing everything at 60 beats per minute, for goodness sake, don't go to 210 right away. Work up 10 beats at a time, 10 or 20 beats at a time, and see how you hang in there. When you start to feel like you're making a lot more mistakes than normal, back it down 10 beats. Really figure out where it's going. Is it a fingering issue? Is it not quite knowing the notes of that scale? Polish those up, and then go back and try to see if you can get your tempos up. I hope this video series is helping you. I enjoy presenting it to you, and I look forward to hearing what you guys think about it. In the comment section below, give me a quick little update. How are these series going? Where do you hope they go? What are you looking to get? What are some of the weaknesses you know about? If you let me know these things, I can actually blend that in directly into future videos and help you more pointedly with what you're trying to accomplish. Hey, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for my Patreon supporters. You mean a lot to me. If you want to join Patreon and be able to have access to my written materials and some of my WAV files, then just follow the link in the description below. It's only $8 a month, and once you pay $8 for the entire month, as long as you can download all my sheet music, you can download all my lesson stuff. It's all available to Patreon supporters. Thank you so much, everyone. Please like the video if you like the video, and share it with some bass players. Let's grow the family even bigger. All right, I'll see you at the next video.